Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Jai Damodara Ji ki, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we thank all devotees for joining us for the program today. Thank you very much, as always, to Neil Kamal Prabhu, Payal Mataji. I think one of the longest running programs for preaching has been in Tanamera actually. And you know, we always know that when we come here, the atmosphere is very wonderful. And I really like this large picture of Yashoda Damodar, because somehow the expressions, they come out very well. And you see behind, you know, the rest of Vrindavan Dham, which you don't get to see in most other pictures actually, which is very beautiful. This wonderful pastime of Krishna and Mother Yashoda is such an important pastime for all of us to keep hearing. Shravanti Gayanti Grananti Abhikshnashaha Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Janaha Ta eva Pashyanti Achirena Tavakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam Yat Kirtanam Yat Smaranam Yadikshanam Yad Vandanam Yat Shravanam Yat Arhanam Lokasya Sadhyo Vidunoti Kalmasam Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha. In the first verse, Kunti Mata is saying a very important principle of today's pastime. She says, Krishna, those who continuously hear, those who continuously chant, those who continuously repeat. So hearing, chanting and repeating. This is very important for us. It's very easy to remember. It's H, C and R. Whatever that you hear about Krishna, you chant. And whatever that you chant, because you hear, you repeat. You repeat to the next person. Or if you don't have anyone next to you, at least repeat it to yourself. That is very important. The more we repeat Krishna's pastimes, initially the mind will resist. The mind will tell you it is very boring, I've heard it so many times, but you push through the mind and keep repeating it. Because the more you repeat the pastimes of Krishna to yourself and to others, the more we will actually take pleasure. That is very important. That's why Shravanti Gayanti and then after that Grananti. Grananti is very important in Bhagavatam because Grananti means to take. You are taking association of Krishna by hearing and chanting. So what you will see is when you see the shloka, the translation says those who continuously hear, chant and repeat. These three are there. And then Nandanti is there. So if we cannot hear, if we can't chant, if we can't repeat, at least we should take pleasure in others doing so. This is also very important. And when we do that, then because we are taking pleasure in others speaking, others chanting, others repeating, actually that pleasure that we get frees us from envy. This is very important. This process of hearing from others and taking pleasure because others are speaking about Krishna helps us to free ourselves of envy. Sometimes people ask, how do we get rid of envy in our hearts? The easiest way is to hear from others. When you hear from others and you take pleasure, not that you're envious of them, that pleasure that you derive automatically as a byproduct will clear your heart of envy. It's a very simple process to get rid of envy. Sometimes we think we're envious of people. The reason we're envious of people is because we are not continuously hearing, chanting, and repeating Krishna's names, and we are not taking pleasure from hearing about Krishna from others. That is why envy is in the heart. So actually it is coming back to devotional service again. Now the one thing that's very important is the word grananti. Grananti is found in the shloka, and grananti actually means to take. But you will not find it in the translation. Grananti is not given in the translation directly. But then why is grananti important? Because when you take, what it means is you must take association of others before you can take pleasure of hearing about Krishna. If you don't take the association of sadhus, you will not derive pleasure from hearing about Krishna. That is why the Tana Mera program is always successful, because everybody gathers. And I've never seen a more punctual program. We were here 5 minutes earlier, so to be fair, we started earlier. But by 10 o'clock, 10:02, 10:03, everybody's here. Everybody comes. Everybody's eager. You know why? Grananti. You are taking. You are taking. So in material world, in spiritual world, sometimes we say when you take something, it's not good. You should be giving. But Bhagavatam tells us you must take. Because if you don't take association of devotees, how can you give association to others? You can't. You can only give association to others if you have something with you, right? For example, if you don't have $5 with you, how can you give someone $5? You can't. So you have to take something from somebody, then you can give it. So we always take something from sadhus, and then we repeat what sadhus have said, and in that way, we are taking grananti and we are giving. That is the way of devotional service. And Kunti Mata says, those who do that, what will happen to them? They will certainly see Krishna's lotus feet. Very nice. They will see Krishna's lotus feet. And the moment they see Krishna's lotus feet, they will never, the possibility of coming back to this world does not arise. Why? Because those who see Krishna's lotus feet, the cycle of the repetition of birth and death, it is ended. Ended. The other shloka I chanted is the prayers of Shukadev Goswami, Yat Kirtanam. It's a very beautiful shloka. Yat Kirtanam, Yat Smaranam, Yat Ikshanam. So there, Shukadev Goswami says the same thing. And that is again found in this pastime. Shukadev Goswami says, I am praying and giving my respectful obeisances to the all-auspicious Sri Krishna. That is Krishna. Krishna is all-auspicious. In this Leela, whatever Mother Yashoda did for Krishna and did to Krishna, never bound her in the laws of karma. It freed her from all reactions. In this story, there's so much of binding. But the binding is not the binding of karma bandhanaha. In the material world, we are always bound, right? We can say we are also tied in the material world. But our tying is the world of karma. We are tied by karma. Very important. But in the spiritual world, devotees are also tied. But that bandhana is not karma bandhana. That bandhana, that binding is out of bhakti. It is bhakti. So there's a difference between a devotee being bound and someone who is bound in the material world. And therefore, that is why Shravase, the word Shravase is used here to mean whatever that is connected to Krishna will automatically be auspicious. So even if you are bound by Krishna, it is auspicious. If you are cursed by Krishna, it is auspicious. If you are chastised by Krishna, it is auspicious. And that's why Shukadev Goswami says, those who glorify Krishna, those who remember Krishna, those who have audience, ikshanam of Krishna, those who are praying to Krishna, those who hear about Krishna, and those who worship Krishna, what happens? All the sinful reactions in our hearts, they will all be able to go. Lokasya sadhyo vidunoti kalmasam. Vidunoti kalmasam means to be entirely cleansed of all the impurities in our heart. Just we are spending 18 minutes of the program. But I tell you, all of us are feeling the cleansing actually. We feel very light, right? We feel very happy. Maybe we slept very late in the night, but in the morning we are very fresh. Maybe we had a long weekday, a long week, but still we are fresh to hear about Krishna. This is how it is. So it proves that this process is very, very sublime. Very sublime. So Mother Yashoda woke up in the morning of Diwali and she wanted to do service for Krishna. That is the mood of a devotee. He wakes up in the morning, she wakes up in the morning, and the first thought is, what service can I do for Krishna? And Mother Yashoda decided that the best thing to do for Krishna is actually to churn butter for him. And so she started churning butter for Krishna. And as she churned butter for Krishna, she was very happy. Even though she was laboring, even though she was endeavoring, even though she was perspiring, but her consciousness was very peaceful. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is so powerful that your body may be physically working hard, but your mind is very peaceful. Very often in the material world, when your body is exerted, your mind is also exerted. But in the spiritual world, it is not like that. It's very important. So we should remember one important thing in Bhagavatam, right? Prabhu, come this side. Mataji's, you can sit there. He's a yogi, you can sit on there. Mataji, I think you have to move this side a little bit more. Otherwise, as I start, you will have... Prabhu, why don't you come here? You can sit here. No, don't worry. Just sit here. Okay, the rest of you just move this side. Yeah, it's easier. So what happens is Mother Yashoda was completely absorbed in her activity, and therefore she was not distracted. She was not distracted. Distraction is a very difficult phenomenon in the material world. For example, in a program, how many distractions are there, you tell me? Isn't it? The moment someone comes in is a distraction for us. The moment someone moves, there's a distraction for us. Someone sits somewhere is a distraction for us. The other day there was one program, I think, curtain was moving behind me and everybody was looking at the curtain. I was thinking, what is the big deal about the curtain? But they just kept looking at the curtain. So you can see in the material world how difficult it is for the mind to be concentrating. It's very difficult. Very difficult. And the reason for that is the mind is not used to being engaged. The more it is used to being engaged in devotional service, the more in whatever situation there may be of exertion, the mind is very peaceful. Mother Yashoda showed that. She was not disturbed despite the endeavor she was putting, because she was all the time repeating the pastimes of Krishna. Shrunavanti gayanti grananti abhikshnashaha. See the importance of that shloka? She was hearing, as she was repeating, she was hearing the pastimes of Krishna. And the pastimes of Krishna are tava kathamritam, tapta jivanam. They sustain the very lives of the gopis. Very important actually. Actually, this whole Gopi Gita in the month of Damodara, it should be chanted actually at some point. I think on the last day of Damodara, I think we should chant the Gopi Gita. Just before we start at the center, just before we start the last offering, we should all chant the Gopi Gita. It will be very nice, So the gopis and Mother Yashoda, they feel the same thing. No matter what they are doing, they are always remembering Krishna. And so Mother Yashoda had that mood. And therefore she did not feel the exertion. She didn't feel the exertion. The Vanaras, the monkeys in Ram Leela, when they were serving and fighting on the battlefield, Ram Leela tells us they did not feel the exertion of battle, because they were completely absorbed in remembering Lord Ram. They were chanting Ram's name and they were fighting. They were chanting Lord's names and they were throwing the big rocks into the ocean to build the bridge, to cross over. Lord Ram himself could not throw a rock into the ocean for it to float. But the Vanaras could, because Shrunavanti gayanti grananti abhikshnashaha. And therefore Mother Yashoda was feeling very sublime and very happy. And because she was so absorbed in remembering Krishna, Krishna immediately reciprocated. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. To the extent of our sharanam, our surrender, Krishna will actually reciprocate. So we cannot blame Krishna if we are doing some bhakti and it appears like Krishna is not reciprocating. The fault lies with us. It is not Krishna. Somewhere our devotional service is not up to the mark. And that is why we may appear not to have reciprocation. So therefore a devotee is always introspective. They never blame anyone outside. They're always introspective. What is it about my devotional service that is causing disturbance to my mind? This is mood of devotee. Not blaming someone else for my disturbance. We cannot control other people. We can only control our minds, which we already are struggling to control. So what to speak of controlling other people's minds? So Mother Yashoda had the reciprocation of Krishna, and he came and asked Mother Yashoda for milk. And she put him on her lap and she gave him milk. The milk of Mother Yashoda and the milk of Devaki are very special. Why? Because Krishna touched them and took milk from them. Therefore, whatever that was coming from Mother Yashoda was actually being taken by Krishna. And whatever that was being given by Krishna was being taken by Mother Yashoda. You see the word grananti? This word grananti, take. This is the meaning of it. Remember the 6 sons of Devaki Mata? They had died one after the other, isn't it? But when finally Devaki Mata asked Krishna to bring them back, Krishna brought them back. And when they came back, Devaki Mata fed all of them with her milk. The only difference now was she had already fed Krishna with her milk, and therefore her breasts and her milk were completely purified, which meant the 6 sons, right? The 6 sons, they completed their journey in this material world because they received the mercy of Krishna. That is grananti. That means to take the mercy. So Mother Yashoda was taking mercy of Krishna without knowing it. And Krishna as a devotee was taking the mercy, Krishna as the Lord was taking the mercy of the devotee. And there was this wonderful exchange just in feeding Krishna. Such a simple activity, but it is reciprocal. But then at that point of time, Krishna always tests a devotee. And Krishna tested Mother Yashoda on Diwali day. He really tested her. And so he caused the milk that was boiling on the pot to boil over. Now when you read about Vrindavan Dham, and you all are devotees, so we can speak about this in a more confidential manner. Sometimes when you speak about these matters in a new environment, it's difficult for them to appreciate. But in Vrindavan Dham, right, the devotees of the Lord worship Krishna in 5 rasas. Of course, there's Madhurya, which is the highest. Then there is paternal, there is fraternal, right? But one of the rasas that many people don't realize is what we call Shantaras. In Shantaras, there are all these inanimate objects in Vrindavan. And they are all worshipping Krishna. So the pot is worshipping Krishna. The milk is worshipping Krishna. Krishna's jewels are worshipping him. Krishna's anklets are worshipping him. The grass that Krishna steps on is worshipping him. Every object, inanimate and animate in Vrindavan, is actually serving Krishna. And they serve Krishna on the rasa of Shanta. They're very peaceful and they're very, very happy just to serve that way. So the pot and the milk in this pastime also serve Krishna. They had their part to play. Because the milk was thinking, why should Yashoda's milk only be for Krishna? Why shouldn't Krishna also taste my milk? I'm also milk, isn't it? I want to be tasted by Krishna. So by Krishna's arrangement and by the reciprocation of the devotee, the Shantaras played itself out in this Leela. And the pot of milk began boiling over. And 2 devotees, one is of course Yashoda Mata, but the other is the pot and the milk. You remember when Yamuna ji was parting herself for Krishna as a small little baby to be carried by Vasudev? Yamuna ji was actually in Shantaras. She's a great devotee of the Lord, but she's water. But in Shantaras, she was praying that Krishna should touch her. Brahma Sparshanam. And Krishna obliged. And therefore, Krishna just fell out of the basket and into the water. And Vasudev nearly went mad because he thought he lost Krishna. But actually, it was Krishna's arrangement to reciprocate with what appeared to be an inanimate piece of nature, which is just water. But Yamuna ji became so happy, Krishna has touched me, and she became perfect. So the stove and the milk and the pot in Vrindavan, they are also serving Krishna. So actually, no matter what you say in Vrindavan, whether it is Madhurya Ras, whether it is Shanta Ras, the denominator which is common is service. It is service. So therefore, there is always Sharanam, there is Sevanam, and there is Sharanyam. These 3 are always together. If you look at a fulcrum, or you look at, what do you call that? The one that goes up and down? You know, in the playground? Seesaw. I forgot that. Seesaw is also S, so it's very easy to remember. Now, when you have a seesaw, you have a fulcrum, isn't it, in the center? So the fulcrum is Sevanam. The fulcrum is Sevanam. And on one end of the Sevanam is Sharanam, the surrender of the devotee. On the other end is who he is surrendering to. And there is Sharanyam. And the fulcrum that keeps these two in equality and equilibrium, especially in Vrindavan Dham, is Sevanam. So whether the gopis felt they were conjugal lovers of Krishna, or the pot of milk felt that it was some inanimate object, the feeling was the same. They both had the feeling of service. So we must develop that service in our spiritual life. Somehow we must feel that somehow I must serve Krishna. And if I can't serve Krishna, I serve the devotees of Krishna. That is the way to serve Krishna. Or I serve anything which is offered to Krishna. That is also service to Krishna. Today you're all going to light lamps. That is your sevanam to Krishna. As you're performing, as you're lighting that lamp, it is an act of seva. But what is driving that seva is your sharanam. And who is it being directed to is Sharanyam. So even in this simple act of offering the lamp, all three qualities are needed in your devotional service. You see the point? So the pot of milk boiled over and Mother Yashoda went to get the milk. But in putting Krishna down, Krishna exhibited transcendental anger. And he broke the pot that was, Mother Yashoda was churning butter. And when he broke it, he exhibited the pastime of the butter thief. Krishna is such a butter thief actually. I was seeing Neil Kamal Prabhu, I think when you sent out the WhatsApp message, there's a very beautiful picture of Mother Yashoda, Krishna sitting and he's eating butter, right? So Krishna is known as the thief of butter. But we all know that Krishna doesn't need to steal because anything and everything belongs to Krishna. Frankly, who are the thieves? We are the thieves. We are the thieves actually. And there's nothing spiritual about our thievery. It's all criminal. Because we take it and we think we own it. And we never give anything back to Krishna. We don't, right? We just take. This is the wrong kind of Grananti. We're just taking it, but we are not giving it to Krishna. But Krishna owns everything. And so when Krishna started taking butter, he broke the pot and he took the butter. But now he realized that Mother Yashoda would become angry. So like an ordinary child, he just decided to run away. And why should the Supreme Personality of Godhead run away from his mother when all the demons are running away from him out of fear? This shows the love that Mother Yashoda and Krishna had. And therefore Krishna agreed to reduce himself to the level of a simple child. That is the great humility, the transcendental humility of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Mother Yashoda came out and she thought, today I must actually discipline Krishna. And so she took a stick and she walked into the space where Krishna was seated on a mortar and he was trying very hard to break the pots of milk and the pots of butter. Mother Yashoda just stood there by the side of the door and she kept looking. As she looked, she began to be she began to feel very wondrous because Krishna was feeding butter to all the monkeys of Vrindavan. Now, monkeys of Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada writes, are not ordinary animals. Very often the monkeys of Vrindavan are great sadhus and sages. Some of them, may have come to a very high point of austerity and devotion, but somehow they could not finish, so they are given chance to come back to Vrindavan and they become monkeys. And if you've been to Vrindavan, you realize that Vrindavan monkeys also have their own flavor, isn't it? I cannot wear glasses in Vrindavan because they will take. Last week I was in Govardhan. And in Govardhan, I went to this spot just to sit down, a very small area where you just sit down and you just sit next to Govardhan. You sit at the point where the last outpost, after that you can't step. You sit there and you pray to Govardhan. So many monkeys were there. And they were big fellas. Many of them were muscular even. Really muscular, big ones, And they were all sitting there. And they imitate you. If you sit down like this, they sit down like this, like sadhus. There was one on this side, there was one on that side. And the devotee who brought me said, the monkey sense fear. So Prabhu, if you sit down and you feel fear, the monkeys will attack you. Or they will disturb you because they sense your fear. But if you just act like, if you accept that they are devotees and you say, oh, welcome sadhu, then nothing will happen to them. So then he sat behind, and I thought I should just use the same principle. So I turned and I said, welcome sadhu, and welcome sadhu. I said it in my heart. Then I just sat down and chanted, and they never disturbed me. And then later this devotee told me there's a difference of quality between the Vrindavan monkeys and the Govardhan monkeys. The Govardhan monkeys are very sober, they don't take your glasses. But the Vrindavan monkeys, they want your glasses. So the monkeys of Vrindavan are very special, like everything else is in Vrindavan. But we need the eyes to see it, you see. So Mother Yashoda, these monkeys to Mother Yashoda were just playmates of Krishna. Very naughty, just as mischievous as him. And so she was just laughing because he was feeding them butter like anything. But she did not realize that these monkeys were the Vanaras from Ram Leela. They were the monkeys who formed the million-strong monkey army who fought on the side of Lord Ram against Ravana. And at the end of the Leela, Lord Ram gave the benediction to the army of monkeys that whatever they wanted, they could have. But they only wanted one thing. They wanted to be again, right, performing sevanam at the lotus feet of Krishna. Then, in other words, they said, Lord Ram, wherever you go, whichever Leela you go, you just bring us along. That's it. You see again, sevanam, sharanam, and sharanyam. Again, that same seesaw is there, always in balance. And so the monkeys came back in Krishna Leela, and Krishna gave them the satisfaction and the benediction of taking butter from him. Lord Ram could not serve the monkeys because he was an ideal king. The mood was awe and reverence, right? They must serve him. But in Krishna Leela, Krishna served them. This is the mood of Krishna and his devotees. They are always exchanging. This is the mood of Grananti. Shrunavanti, Gayanti, Grananti. Grananti means I take and give, you give and take. This is mood of devotees and this is mood of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, whenever two devotees fought, Srila Prabhupada would tell them, please cooperate and adjust your differences. Adjusting your differences means I give a little, you take a little, you take a little, I give a little. That's all. Let's come to the middle line. That is how we grow as Vaishnava community. And that's why in Vrindavan, there is never any fight. In the spiritual world, if a cuckoo bird is singing and all other birds were singing, they will all stop first. And they will let the cuckoo bird sing for Krishna. They won't say, hey, it's my turn to sing. I'm supposed to do the program. You can't do the program. Why I'm not singing? No. Everybody stops because someone is singing for Krishna. So we think Krishna wants him to sing or Krishna wants her to sing. So let them sing. And this is our mood actually. So therefore, the monkeys became very happy until they saw Mother Yashoda. And then Mother Yashoda came inside. And when she walked inside, the monkeys left. And Krishna realized that Mother Yashoda was standing in front of him. Behind him, of course, but very much there. And so very quickly he got off the mortar. See the mortar there? The mortar is used, Srila Prabhupada writes, to grind spices. And therefore he was on the mortar, then he got off the mortar, and he started running away from the mortar. And Mother Yashoda thought, let me run and catch this boy. And she thought it will not be difficult. But it became very difficult. Because Krishna cannot be caught by mental speculation, by physical endeavor, neither by physical appearance or physical effort. Krishna can only be caught by bhakti. But Mother Yashoda was surrendered to Krishna. And therefore when she couldn't catch him, she said, Krishna, I cannot catch you. Please allow me to catch you. And the moment that prayer came, Krishna agreed to be caught. This is the mood of a devotee. We may endeavor, but we should never forget at the back of our mind that our endeavor cannot succeed without his mercy. If we have that mood, our endeavors will always be peaceful. They will not be disturbing to us. Sometimes you perform a service, right? You have a service given to you. And just when you think the service is going to go right, it goes wrong. Now, when the service goes wrong and you become agitated, that's because you are attached to your component of thinking that the service should go in a certain way. We are not surrendered to the fact that we have started a service, but his hand is there to complete the service. That part is very important. My Guru Maharaj said this very simple thing. Devaki, when you start the service, you only should start the service. But you should always remember it takes Krishna to complete the service. The problem with us is when we start the service, we expect perfection and we think we will complete the service. The moment we have that thinking, the service never completes the way we want it to. And we become agitated. So Maharaj told me, when you start the service, always be detached from the service even as you do it. Investment is in your surrender to Krishna. Investment is not in how you think the service should go. It's a subtle but very important point, and we miss that, you see. When we miss that, the seesaw goes off. It's not balanced because the sevanam, the fulcrum, is not properly constituted. So the sharanam is not there. So what to speak of sharanyam then? You see, the moment your sharanam is not correct, you cannot come to sharanyam. But if your sharanam is correct, then sharanyam is achievable. This is a very important point. So Mother Yashoda had the right mood. She started the service of trying to catch Krishna, but she knew that she couldn't do it without his mercy. And so she said, Krishna, stop. I can't catch you. And Krishna stopped. Then she said, Krishna, I need to bind you. And she took the ropes, beautiful ropes she took. And when she took the ropes, she found she couldn't bind him. Again, the same problem. She started the service, but she couldn't bind him. She tried it, but it was 2 inches short. And these 2 inches, Jiva Goswami tells us, represents 2 important faculties of devotional service. One is our endeavor. That's the first part of the service, to endeavor. But the second part of that service is actually the mercy of Krishna. If you don't invoke the mercy of Krishna, the service is never complete and you are never satisfied. You always think, I should have done better. It didn't turn out this way. Should have been that. That is not the mood of service. Grananti means to take what Krishna gives. Shanavanti, Gayanti, Grananti. Grananti means you take what Krishna gives. So if the service appears imperfect, that's His mercy. If the service is perfect, that's also His mercy. You introspect on what you have done and what you have not done. But the outcome is up to Krishna. And so Mother Yashoda again said, Krishna, I'm trying to tie you. I've got so much ropes, but I'm unable to tie you. So please, let me be able to tie you. And when she prayed that way, then Krishna decided, let me be bound by Mother Yashoda. He who could not be bound by the demons, he who cannot be bound by the yogis, he who cannot be bound even by the greatest of the sadhus, became bound by a simple devotee like Mother Yashoda. Why? Because devotional service must be simple. The more complicated it is, the more difficult it becomes. But the more simple it is, the more effective it is. Mother Yashoda had nothing in her heart except to serve Krishna. No other material considerations. And there was no considerations of defeat and hopelessness in her heart. Because she always had faith that somehow or another I'll be able to tie Krishna. She had that faith, but she put that faith in Krishna. You see the point? So a devotee is a perfect balance. A perfect balance of knowing when to endeavor, when to ask for mercy. These are the two. We must know when we must start endeavoring, and we must know at which point mercy is coming in. We cannot think our endeavor is taking us to the end of the road. No, it's not. At some point, mercy has to kick in to drag the endeavor to the end of the road. That mercy aspect we don't meditate on. And that is why when we finish a service, or in between the service, we are not blissful. We are very harried. Oh, how am I going to do it? Maharaj told me, when you're thinking like that, that means you think you're in control. You're not in control. So this is a problem. But Mother Yashoda perfected it. And so she tied Krishna. Now Krishna remains bound, but he has one more pastime to fulfill. And so Krishna decided, let me now fulfill the words of my great devotee Narada. I have fulfilled the desire of my great devotee Mother Yashoda. Now let me fulfill the words and the great duty, or the great words of my great devotee Narada Muni. You realize that Narada Muni is omniscient. He's everywhere, isn't he? Right? From the first canto to the 10th canto, Narada Muni is everywhere. Somebody should do some homework someday. I should give some assignment to some of the young devotees, someone. Actually, you should do the assignment one day. This is what you do. Next year, this is your assignment. You look through whole Bhagavatam, and every point where Narada Muni has saved a devotee, or given his association to a devotee, or where he has saved a non-devotee, or where he has cursed a devotee, you compile all of them. Put them all together, right? And you give it to all of us. Can you do that? Okay? 1 year from now, I won't forget. Okay? Is it very difficult year next year for her, Madhuri? It's okay, right? Okay, so there's no excuse then. I don't know why I asked you, but you were just sitting in front of me. So, yeah, take it. It's Krishna's assignment. Do that. I think it'll benefit the congregation because we don't have such a document. But if we had that, right, we could understand the greatness of Narada. So you do it, huh? Okay, very good. So now Narada Muni, right, had met the two sons of Nala Kuvera and Manigriva long time ago. And these two sons were the sons of Kuvera. Bhagavatam tells us in the 10th canto, 10th chapter, that because they were sons of Kuvera, and because Kuvera was almost in the position of Lord Shiva, because he was a very highly decorated personality, his sons had the permission to bathe in Mandakini river, which was the river near Mount Kailash, which is where Lord Shiva resides. But they took advantage of the greatness of their position. When you become very attached to a position, then you become very proud. You think, I'm organizing, I'm taking class, I'm singing, So you feel that designation belongs to you. And they became intoxicated with pride. They forgot that all this is coming from the mercy of Krishna. So what happened was, because they were intoxicated, they began drinking also. Prabhupada says, if you are intoxicated with pride, you will also become intoxicated with liquor. They go hand in hand together. And so one day they were in the lake of Mandakini. They were just enjoying themselves when Narada Muni passed by. When Narada Muni passed by, they came out drunken, not even fit to see sadhu, and they were not wearing clothes. So Narada became very transcendently upset with them, and he cursed them. And his curse was very nice. His curse was that since you two have such lowly consciousness and have no regard for decorum and the value of your human body, better you become trees in your next life. But I pray that you become trees because trees have no consciousness and trees don't wear clothes, right? I pray that you will become trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. And there I pray that Krishna will deliver you and he will elevate your consciousness to the consciousness to understand the purpose of human existence. What a wonderful prayer of Narada. So the prayer of a sadhu may look like a curse, but it is always for our good. Prabhupada says in the purports, actually the disciples of Prabhupada, because that was written by disciples of Prabhupada, they say that whatever a Vaishnava wishes for us, whether if it appears bad or if it appears good, it's always good actually. It's always good. Because a Vaishnava is our real well-wisher. He or she will never wish unwell for us. They always will wish us well, even if they hurt us. Even if they hurt us, we never hurt them. That's why Durvasa Muni told Ambarish Maharaj, after, he tried to kill him, and after Sudarshan Chakra brought him to the ground, he said, today I've realized the glories of devotees. Why? Because even though I wished you ill, you prayed for my good fortune. That is the mood of a devotee. So Narada prayed for the good fortune of... Oh, okay. Prabhu's, Mataji's little bit more forward. Okay. Before somebody faints, move forward a bit. Move forward a bit. Yeah. We have space. The beauty of this flat, Neel Kamal Prabhu, is that because it is spiritual, it has the capacity to expand. I'm sure after we all leave, right, when the four of you are in the house, you may feel a little cramped. But when we are all here, it feels like there's a lot of space still, There's still a lot of space. Everyone okay? Once you settle down, I will speak. Otherwise, you'll become distracted. 5 minutes more only, then we are done. All okay? Everyone settled? Very good. So Narada Muni cursed these boys to become trees. And they became trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. And Krishna remembered the prayer of Narada. Narada's prayer was, Krishna, please deliver them. But these boys never prayed to Krishna. If I was Krishna, I would think, you people never pray to me, why should I deliver you? But Krishna didn't think that way. Krishna told the boys that Devarishi Priyatamo, because Devarishi Narada is very dear to me, I am ready now to deliver both of you. So he started his Leela by starting to move towards the two trees, which were actually the Yamal Arjuna trees, but who were actually Nala Kuvera and Manigriva. And the Mota moved also. And when he came to the trees to deliver them, he pushed a little hard, and the mortar that got stuck delivered them. The trees came down with a crash, and the two boys came forward. And when the boys came forward and they stood before Krishna, they said something very nice. They said, "Oh, great Supreme Personality of Godhead, today we are your servants, but actually we are servants of Narada." In other words, they say, we are the servants of your servants, especially of Narada Muni. This is why Krishna delivered them. Very important point. Krishna delivered these two boys because of this one specific prayer. It's in 10:10:37. In 10:10:37, these two boys say, "Anujahini now bhu mama." Bhu mama means we are being delivered not just because of you, but because of the greatness and mercy of Narada. And then he says, "Now give us permission to leave this material realm so that we can go back and we can be delivered by your mercy." And Krishna says something, and then after it they say, "Henceforward, Krishna, we will always be engaged in hearing your pastimes. May our ears be engaged in hearing about you. May our hands and legs and our senses be engaged in always serving you. And may our heads always offer obeisances at your lotus feet." See the change in consciousness? It came because of Narada and because of Krishna. And then finally Krishna says something very nice. It's transcendently humorous. Krishna says, "I now deliver you. You're not bound by the curse of Narada, even though as I'm freeing you, I'm still bound myself." See, Bhagavatam has transcendental humor, Krishna is just thinking to himself. He's smiling. He says, "Actually, I'm bound, but I'm going to free you of bondage." Because his bondage is something that he submitted to. But these two boys' bondage is something that they were subjected to. They didn't submit to it. They were subjected to it. But Krishna submitted to this. And so the pastime ends very beautifully. And just as an ending point, it is so nicely stated that when the crash came down, Krishna was still bound. And Nanda Maharaj and the men all came because they heard the crash. And they came and they saw two Yamalarjuna trees down, Krishna bound, the mortar is still there, and they thought, what happened? And again they began to think, maybe it is some demon who came and he tried to catch Krishna. But apparently, if you read Krishna book, in the next chapter, it appears as if there were some boys. The Gopas were there. Some of them said, no, we witnessed that Krishna actually pushed down the trees. And so Nanda Maharaj thought, how can it be? It's only Krishna. And all the cowherd men began thinking, it cannot be. Something must be there. And then they all started praying to Lord Narayana, please protect Krishna. And all the gopis came, Mother Yashoda came, and Nanda Maharaj unbound Krishna. But the point is, even if the ropes were there or the ropes were not there, Krishna would always be bound by the residents of Vrindavan. Because they were always surrendered to him, and they saw him as the source of their shelter. And they did that on the basis of service. Sevanam, Sharanam, and Sharanyam. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Kodi Vaishnavinda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Are there any questions? Advaita Prabhu. Nandanti. Take pleasure.
Because envy is there.
Yes.
So is it because we don't seek pleasure, envy is there, or is it because of envy we don't seek pleasure? So whether chicken or egg, which comes first?
Very good point. What Advaita Prabhu is asking is, this is a chicken egg issue. Which comes first? We don't take pleasure and we become envious? Or is it because we are envious and we can't take pleasure? Because we are in the material world, Prabhu, envy is always touching us. It is the nature of Kali Yuga and the nature of material world. Those born into this world, even though we are constitutionally spiritual, Bhagavatam tells us that because of our false ego, envy starts in our heart very early. Very early. Therefore, bhakti has the effect of actually countering that envy. Very often before we came to devotional service, unless we had some sukriti, many of us would have battled with envy. But when we take up devotional service and we start performing devotional service, that Nandanti will actually come because of bhakti. And that Nandanti will help us to become happy about hearing from others. It makes us more aware that there is pride in our heart. Otherwise, there are very good people in the world, But they don't realize that they are envious actually, because it has become so much a part of our constitution. So from Shastric point of view, we are all devotees actually, but we are covered with false ego. So false ego's definition, one of the symptoms of false ego is pride and envy. So envy is there, but the devotional process of Shravanam, Shrunavanti, Gayanti, Grananti, all these three will actually bring about Nandanti. The more we hear from others, we repeat, and then we share with others, this Nandanti will come automatically. We don't have to worry. And if it is still being battled, at least we become aware of it, and we will be able to counter it. Is that okay, Prabhu? Very nice question. Anything else?
One more.
Yes, Prabhu.
How to invoke mercy of Krishna?
How to invoke mercy of Krishna. In 266 of Bhagavad Gita, that shloka is there. Raga dvesha vimuktaistu. In that verse, it is nicely stated that if we try to control our mind and senses, that's first thing. Krishna becomes very pleased. If we even try, that means if we perform devotional service and we try to use our mind and senses for Krishna, Krishna's mercy is coming automatically. The second thing is, if we are not attached and neither are we averse. We don't have attachment, we don't have aversion. Anything that comes to us, we are neither attached to it nor are we averse. We just think, can we use it for Krishna? The moment we think that way, Krishna's mercy is there. So if we follow 266 very carefully, is the only shloka in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna directly says that you will receive my mercy if you have these two qualities. Is that all right, Prabhu? Very nice. So you see, all the answers are in Shastra. We just have to be absorbed in it, and we will become very happy. Let's light the lamps. Let's offer it to their lotus feet of Mother Yashoda and little Krishna. And we should be very peaceful and happy in this wonderful pastime. Prabhu? Yeah. Oh, okay. You want a bit of logistics here. Okay. So I think now devotees are going to come this way, right? Okay. So what we do is we clear a path here, and devotees can come forward. Maybe someone needs to be here. Are you going to be lighting and getting the lamps? Okay. We can light a few lamps and devotees can start moving forward. That would be good. Are we okay? I think now we can move this. Yeah. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhavamahanam Param Vishtahamadyam Tato Namamishwaram Sachidanandam Rupam Lasakundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhavamahanam Param Vishtahamadyam Tato Drutya Gohopya Haribol Udantam Muhurnetra Yumam Rija भक्तैजितात्मं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सता वृत्ति वन्दे जय यशोदा माता की वरं देवमोक्षं नः मोक्षवदिं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं नरेशानपीहा इदं तेव पूर्णातगोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्यां विरास्तां ते मन्ये जय बालगोपाल की इदं ते मुखाम्बोजम् अद्यन्तनीलै मृतं कुन्तलै स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तादरं मे मनस्या विरास्तं अलं लक्षलाभे हरि हरि नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीदा प्रबोध कजलाब्धिमग्नम् जय दामोदर जी की कृपा दृष्टि वृष्याति विलम्बतान् ग्रहाणे क्षमामग्न्यं एदाक्षि दृश्यया भक्ति अजाओ कृताओ जय वृंदावन धाम की तथा प्रेम भक्ति स्वखं में प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो में स्थिरामोदरे प्रेमा भक्ति की हरि हरि Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Haribol. Holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Maha Mahayajna ki, Jai Yashoda Damodar ji ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. I want to really thank Neil Kamal Prabhu, Payal Mataji. You have organized such an amazing program. And I want to thank all the devotees who came today. Like I said, there's no end, you know. I don't know how your house expands, but I'm just watching, and people are coming, and there's no end. And there's this whole enthusiastic set of devotees here who are dancing, and I don't think you've even had time to come forward yet. So thank you very much for your time, and we're very happy to see you. Please take this Leela back. You must think of these finer points in devotional service. Devotional service is very simple, but it is sublime. If we miss out the finer points of devotional service, we won't get it right. It is so powerful and beneficial that it still gives you some flavor, some taste, no doubt. But if we want to perfect our life, then we need to take this seriously. It's the smaller things that count. Even material world, the small things are the difference between an A and a B, isn't it, in an exam. Spiritual life is the same. If you really want to serve Krishna well, we need to look at these finer points of devotional service. Then we will really make progress. And the more we think about them, the more we surrender to them, the more Krishna will give us the ability to do it. Always remember, your endeavor is only half. The rest of it is all His mercy. So we must know when the mercy is coming in, and when we must accept our endeavor as an element of our surrender. That is very important. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.